everyone. I am Ekant Sharma. I have obtained my PhD degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, under the supervision of Professor Rohit Budhiraja and Professor K. Vasudevan. Today, I will talk about analysis and optimization of energy efficiency massive MIMO wireless relay systems. I will start with why massive MIMO. Let us consider a single isotropic antenna and we want to transmit a signal towards a particular user. So what happened? The signal propagates equally in all the directions. However, when we add more antennas, the signal becomes more and more directed towards that user. Therefore, there is less interference in unwanted direction. Now, due to the increased number of antennas, we obtain higher beamforming gain, higher spatial multiplexing gain, as well as higher spatial diversity. Now, the next question is why relay? To understand this, let us consider two scenarios. The first scenario, that the capacity of the link between the base station and the user is very low due to the large building or the user being underground, etc. Also, the second scenario, that the capacity of the link between the base station and the user is zero. The reason being the users outside the coverage area of this base station. So, what is the immediate solution? So, we can employ relay in such conditions to increase the capacity as well as the coverage. Let us consider an example where two users want to exchange information via a relay. With half duplex one-way relay, only one of the user can either transmit or receive in a particular time slot. Therefore, in total will require 4 time slots to exchange information between the two users. However, with half duplex two-way relay, both the user can transmit in the first time slot and similarly both user can receive in the second time slot. Therefore, we only require 2 time slots when compared to half duplex one-way relay which required 4 time slot. This results in double the spectral efficiency. Next, in the case of full duplex two-way, all the users as well as the relay are full duplex. Therefore, any one of them can transmit as well as receive at the same time, resulting in much better spectral efficiency. However, the here the loop interference will play an important role. So if the loop, will see through simulation that if we can reduce the loop interference to a certain level, then only full duplex will perform better than half duplex. Otherwise, half duplex will perform better than full duplex. We'll discuss this in detail. Next, I'll show you a scenario where multiple set of users wants to transmit or receive via a massive MIMO relay. Here, this user wants to transmit and receive with this user. Similarly, this user wants to transmit and receive with this user and vice versa. Here, each user is having single transmit antenna and single receive antenna, whereas the relay consists of n number of transmit antenna and n number of receive antenna. We assume that there is no direct link between the users on two sides due to large path loss. Now, what happens because of multiple users using the same channel will results in an interference named as interpair interference. Similarly, there are other interference. For example, due to loop interference at the relay and at the user due to the full duplex operation. Similarly, we have inter-user interference due to the user interfering with each other on the same side. Now, going through the mathematical equation, we see that the received signal at the relay can be written as YRN, where root pk xk denotes the transmit signal by the user k, and ZRN denotes the additive wide Gaussian line with mean 0 and variance sigma n r square. Here gk denotes the uplink channel between the user k and relay. Now, due to the full duplex operation, the received signal at the relay will also consist of a loop interference term, where GRR denotes the channel between the transmit antenna and receive antenna of the relay, and XRN is the transmit signal of the relay. Similarly, the received signal at the YK or at the user is given by YKN, where FK transpose denotes the downlink channel between the relay and the kth user, and ZK denotes the additive wide Gaussian noise at the user k. And now, due to the full duplex operation, we have this loop and inter-user interference terms at the user, where omega kk denotes the channel between the transmit antenna and receive antenna of the user, and omega k comma I denotes the transmit antenna of the ith user and receive antenna of the kth user. We see that the xr is a function of yr, and yr in turn is a function of xr. Therefore, this forms a recursive equation. So, however, according to the recent literature on full duplex, after loop interference separation, the residual interference loop interference term can be modeled as Gaussian, with the loop interference or the loop variance can be brought down to the order of noise variance. Now, the received signal at user xk is given by this equation, where first term is the desired signal and all other terms are the interference and noise. Based on this received signal yk tilde, we can write the signal to interference noise ratio at the kth user as follows, where W denotes the beamforming vectors, which is designed differently for MRC and for zero forcing. Based on this SINR expression, we can write the sum rate expression as follows. We note that this SINR expression requires the instantaneous channel knowledge of the uplink channel GI as well as FK, which is impossible in practice. Also, we note that due to the expectation sitting outside the logarithm, it is very difficult to further simplify this expression. So, our aim is to calculate a lower bound of this expression, which does not require the instantaneous values of CSI. We start by splitting the desired signal as follows, as a true desired term and a signal leakage. We note that due to the large number of antennas at the relay, the channel becomes equal to its mean. Therefore, the signal received over the effective channel can be termed as true desired term, and the channel received over the deviation from mean can be termed as signal leakage. Here we note that the effective channel here, or we can say mean precoded channel, is deterministic. Therefore, this can be assumed to be known, and the signal leakage term is having mean 0 and therefore can be assumed to be an noise or interference. Now, based on this thing, we can rewrite our received signal as yk tilde, where nk tilde denotes the effective noise. Now, since our aim is to calculate a lower bound on the spectral efficiency, we can assume in the worst case nk tilde as Gaussian. Therefore, based on this assumption, we can rewrite the lower bound as follows, where SINR of k bar is given by this expression. Here, all of these expressions are nothing but the variance of the individual terms, color coded terms in the nk tilde and yk tilde. Now we see that each of these terms are very complicated to solve mathematically. Therefore, we use the result from the information theory and random matrix theory to calculate each of these terms. As we obtained an closed form SNR expression, which is a function of Pk and Pr, and where Ak, Bk, Ck, Dk, all these constants are a function of the system parameters. We next plot spectral efficiency versus relay transmit power. We observe that the lower bound expression closely follows the simulations. And as we recall that the lower bound expression are only depending on the deterministic values, whereas the exact expression depends on the instantaneous value. Now, we next plot spectral efficiency versus loop interference. We see that for a lower value of loop interference, the full duplex performs better than half duplex, whereas for higher value of loop interference, the half duplex performs better than full duplex. So, till now we have talked about spectral efficiency, but what about energy efficiency? So there are multiple metrics to define energy efficiency. One of them is global energy efficiency, which measures how efficiently the network resources are utilized. And the global energy efficiency is defined as the ratio of the sum rate and the total power consumed, and is measured in bits per joule, where PTK is given by this expression and PC is given by this expression. Here eta u and eta r denotes the power amplifier efficiency of the user and of the relay, and P0 denotes the pilot power. Here PTC denotes the power consumed by the transceiver chains, and therefore it increases as we increase the number of antennas at the users and the relay. So now the question arises, why GE maximization? To understand this, let us plot the global energy efficiency versus transmit power. We see that as we increase the transmit power initially, the global energy efficiency increases. And as we further increase the transmit power, the global energy efficiency start decreasing. So we aim to maximize global energy efficiency such that it does not fall after attaining maximum. The global energy efficiency problem is formulated as in P1, where the constraint on the first line denotes the peak transmit power of user and the relay, and on the second line we have total system transmit power. We see that this problem is a non-convex problem. To solve this non-convex problem, we'll use some tools from the optimization. We'll start with geometric programming tool. Any function of the form f1x is known as monomial, which is closed under multiplication as well as division, which implies that the multiplication of two monomial is also a monomial, similarly for the division. And any function of this form is known as a polynomial, where Cm are all positive for all values of n. And this polynomial is closed under addition and multiplication, but not under division. And for any objective or any problem to be GP, to satisfy GP, it has to be polynomial objective and upper bounded polynomial constraint. So if we look into our problem, we have all our constraints and upper bounded polynomial. We here note that the SINR expression is a ratio of monomial and polynomial, which if we further simplify this 1 plus SINR expression, which results in a ratio of 2 polynomial, which is not a polynomial. To further simplify this problem, we'll use the results from fractional programming. So any problem of the form ux by vx comes under the umbrella of fractional programming. And this problem is not easy to solve. For example, if we see if ux is affine and vx is affine, it is not necessary that un divided by v is a convex. Okay, so now to solve our problem P1, we'll use an important result from fractional programming, which states that maximizing gx is equivalent to maximizing ux minus lambda vx. So now we will utilize the result from the geometric programming as well as the fractional programming to solve our GE optimization problem. We'll first reformulate this problem by introducing slack variables as follows. Here the ISINR expression is the inverse of SINR, and which is now a ratio of polynomial and monomial, and which is indeed a polynomial. Therefore, all our constraints are upper bounded polynomials. Now we'll apply the fractional programming result to modify our objective as follows. As we can see that this is the different. Now the first term is a polynomial, multiplication of polynomials, which is a polynomial. However, second term is also a polynomial. Now one important thing here to note is the difference of two polynomial is not a polynomial but a signomial. Therefore, we'll now rewrite our objective as a minimization problem. Now we see that the first term is an inverse of polynomial, which is not a polynomial, and second term anyway is a polynomial. So now we have so if we can approximate this first term as a monomial, so we'll have a monomial plus polynomial, and which is indeed a polynomial. Therefore, by approximating the first term by a monomial, we can solve this problem as a GP. So for simulation, I'll assume that the users are located in a coverage area of 250 meter cross 250 meter with relay at the center. Here we assume the minimum distance between the user and relay is 35 meter. The large scale fading coefficients are calculated based on this coverage analysis. Now, first of all, we'll plot the global energy efficiency versus the transmit power. We observe that as we increase the transmit power beyond 20 dBm, the G obtained using the proposed algorithm does not fall and it saturates. However, the G obtained using the EPA scheme starts falling after attaining maximum. Next, we plot the global energy efficiency versus the relay antennas. We see that initially, till n equal to 100, the global energy efficiency increases and then it falls. So, for this reason, we can see that the spectral efficiency dominates the power consumption. And as we further increase the number of antennas, the power consumption dominates the spectral efficiency. The reason being that as we increase the number of antennas beyond 100, the power consumed due to the transceiver chain dominates, resulting in lower G. Now, we come to a user-centric definition of weighted sum energy efficiency. Weighted sum energy efficiency is defined as the weighted sum of the energy efficiency of all users, where WK denotes the weight of the kth user. So now the question arises, why WSC? Let us consider a scenario where different users are arranged according to their channel strength, with user 1 being the strongest user. So if we see that if we plot the energy efficiency of different users, the energy efficiency is directly proportional to the user channel strength. So our aim is that the user energy efficiency should become independent of the channel strength. The WSC problem formulation is given by P1, where the constraints are same as in G, whereas now the objective is a sum of fraction, or we can say multiple ratio fraction. To solve this problem, or to solve this non-convex problem, we'll use a result from the quadratic transform. Quadratic transform says that any function of this form can be rewritten as following, where yk denotes the auxiliary variable, and if uk is concave, vk is convex, and the function fk is concave, the reformulated problem is concave for a given y. And in this case, the auxiliary variable y is given by yk star for a given x. So now we'll use this result to reformulate our problem P1. The reformulated problem using quadratic transform is given in P2. We see that this SINR expression is once again a fraction. So we'll use the same result once again to reformulate the problem P2 as P3. Now we note that this delta is a concave, whereas this lambda is non-convex. Therefore, our now we'll aim to simplify this non-convex as a convex function or as a affine function. We'll utilize Taylor series approximation to perform this. Now, after doing the Taylor series approximation, we are now left with delta concave and lambda convex. Therefore, our problem is now a concave problem with zk and yk given by zk star and yk star. And the WSC maximization algorithm is given by as follows. Now for simulation, we'll consider three different scenarios. In the first scenario, we assume that all the weights are equal for different users. And here we have assumed that user 1 is strongest and user 4 is the weakest. So we see that the energy efficiency is proportional to the user strength. User 1 has the highest energy efficiency and user 4 has the lowest. For the second scenario, we assume that the weaker users are assigned higher weights and the stronger users are assigned lower weights. We see that by assigning higher weight to the weaker users, the energy efficiency of the weaker user has drastically increased when compared to the weaker users. Similarly, we can assign higher weight to the stronger user to further increase their energy efficiency. System designer can use the weights to satisfy the different energy efficiency requirements of users. Thank you.